I'm Tim Kelly. I'm the Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Atlantis.
Tim, thank you so much for joining Breaking Travel News here at ATM.
A
What an
pleasure.
incredible show.
Yeah, incredible, incredibly busy. It's great to see all the energy, and it's great to see everybody back in the travel mode again, if you will.
And obviously, what an incredible year you've had so far.
Yes, we opened Atlantis the Royal, finally. We talked about it for many years, that it was in the making and all the wonderful things and wonderment that was associated with it. And finally, on February 10th, we opened to the public. And now we are live, and I believe roughly about 80 days old.
Tell us a little bit about sort of the property first of all.
Well, in simple terms, we call it the most ultra-luxury experiential resort in the world. And I think we build that around a few pillars, right? One of those pillars is our room product. We have very special room product, floor-to-ceiling glass, great views, all those things. But I think what makes it special is we have villas in the clouds. So we have suites, for example, 44 of them with their own pools that are 20, 30, 40 stories in the air, where you actually have more outdoor space than you do indoor space. And so when you think of it in those terms, it just doesn't exist really anywhere in the world. So we're quite proud of our room pillar and the product that we offer. Our second pillar that we talk about is obviously our food and beverage, and the fact that this is a destination for foodies. We have the largest collection of celebrity chef and chef branded restaurants found anywhere else in the world. So when you take Heston Blumenthal's and Jose Andres and Gaston Icurios and brands such as Ling Ling and Mitch Turner's, and you start bringing all those elements into play, it's really very much a destination for food. And so we're quite proud to be able to now unveil all of those restaurants to all of our different guests internationally that are experiencing the resort. The third pillar that we talk about is wellness. And wellness is beyond just a spa and a hammam. For us, we actually have our own medical clinic. It's called Aeon Medical, where we have certified board doctors internationally that are in the resort, and they're working on proactive medicine. And we talk about it as like regenerative medicine, stem cell therapy, peptide therapy, anti-aging, sports medicine, things that athletes use to prolong their careers. And so it's actually a 6,000 square foot facility where you can go and get diagnosed and work with that team and that staff during the course of your stay to better your life and to better how you feel. And so I think that that's a good piece. What also is quite unique in one of our pillars is retail. And what we've introduced in the GCC is actually luxury retail in a resort destination. So we have Graff Jewelers, we have Valentino. I'm actually opening the first Louis Vuitton at a hotel in the Middle East in the history of our industry. And so bringing all this type of retail to life at a high fashion level is quite special. And then of course finally we have experiences. When you talk about experiences with Atlantis the Royal, you have connectivity to the largest water park in the world, 105 rides and attractions. We have obviously our Ultra Lounge and Ling Ling, beautiful DJs. I think during the opening we had Jay-Z and Beyonce and all the celebrities and stars, and so that's a room with its own like state and place and buzz. And then of course we have Cloud 22, which is our infinity pool that's 90 meters long, that sits on top of Atlantis the Royal, that looks into the Dubai skyline. So when you take all of those things together, that's why we call it the most ultra-luxury experiential resort in the world. And it's its own identity, its own character, and it's quite special.
So much breadth, so much depth.
Yes.
Wanting to know really, I suppose, in a sense, sort of since launch, so 80 days in, you said, I think?
80 days.
80 days.
Incredible.
So
it
round
feels
the world
like
in 80
centuries.
days. Phileas Fogg. So tell us about sort of the response, what's been the reaction so far?
The reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. From the day that His Highness really indoctrinated the resort and welcomed it to the world, to the celebrities, to the performances of Beyonce, to the grand reveal weekend, and now to be open, it's really been quite special. And what we're really proud of is the fact that it's really welcomed a different clientele to Atlantis. So what we're seeing is about 85% of the guests that are now staying at this resort have never stayed in an Atlantis resort before. So it's a new customer because it has its own identity. Obviously Atlantis the Palm is always skewed very family. This skews very couples, singles, C-suite, dignitaries, diplomats, presidents. That's what we're seeing that are really enjoying this resort because the feel is very different. And I think what's really special about Atlantis the Royal is the fact that as an integrated resort, it's the first of its kind that was designed for social media. So when you walk into the resort, you are surrounded by all this surprise and delight. You have all these moments that you can capture yourself on video, with photography, that then you can take and kind of share with the world. No one has really developed it with that type of thinking, with that level of complexity. And so I think that that's something that's really unique and dynamic, that we're really the first to market with an Instagrammable product designed with that intent in mind.
Yeah, it's incredible you've taken that social first strategy,
Yes.
and the impact of that obviously has been incredible in terms of the reach and the awareness of the property.
Yes, and I think that what we've already seen, I think we already have like 300,000 followers on Instagram, continuing to build every day, continuing to get stronger. So we've kind of taken this viral sensation of the grand reveal and 45 billion impressions, and now we're continuing to amplify it. And we're organically building it now through our guests. And I think that that's really important. We all know the importance of word of mouth. We all know the importance of reach. And so we want our customers, our guests, our visitors to now do the speaking for us, to represent us in an organic and natural way, because that's true, that's real. And I think the feedback that we've seen is quite incredible from our guests.
In a sense, what you're providing is a kind of an authentic, out of this world experience.
Yes, very natural, very organic, very articulate, and very special in its own unique way. And I believe that each customer has their own preference, their own profile, their own need that they're looking to fulfill when they're visiting a resort or a hotel or having a stay. And so I think from that, it's our ability to be flexible and nimble and to create and customize something that's very bespoke for each and every guest.
And you talked about the types of people that are coming. Where are they coming from?
Still very international. I mean, what we've really seen with Atlantis and what we've always known is that it really focuses very much on UK and Europe, but we have this very long tail of almost 200 countries. And I'm seeing that same trend really kind of come to life. Russia has been quite popular. The CIS region has been quite popular. Obviously, the Africas, Americas, and North America has been quite popular. So we've really seen this just very long and broad scope of consumer that's really coming to the resort and visiting it. So we're quite proud of the fact that we've still been able to sustain that.
And you've established a massive global kind of presence, and there's huge awareness. But obviously working with the travel trade is really key. Tell us a little bit about how you are working with travel professionals around the world.
Well, the travel trade is everything, because they are the ones that can really sell it. They can create the awareness. They can maybe, you have the consumer that's maybe aware that it exists, but it's the travel trade that can reinforce and really hone in on what are your individual needs, what are your priorities during your stay, and how is it that Atlantis the Royal can facilitate that for you. So we have done an immense amount of training. We've done an immense amount of roadshows internationally. We have obviously conducted an immense amount of fam trips to the resort. So we're bringing in as much as the travel trade as possible, because they need to see it. You need to see it to experience it. You need to feel the zen. You need to feel the power of the space. I mean, when you walk in and you go to a space like the Nobu Beach Club, the first of its kind in the world, and you look around and you go, wow, this place just has like the right vibe, the right energy, the right feel. I can see how this can fit in with my clientele. I think that that's like super important to us. And so for us, I now need the travel trade to really represent Atlantis and Atlantis the Royal, and being able to steer their customers from maybe what they're accustomed to visiting, accustomed to utilizing in the past, to now a new product. And so for us, we want to let the service speak for itself. We've been very protective of the service image. We want the travel trade to know that this is a place where you can send your customer and trust and know that they're going to get incredible service, incredible attention, and that the detail is going to be there, so they can do that fearlessly. Because I think that that's what's really important is that it's safer sometimes to send a customer to where you know, or to where they've been before. To steer them to us, that requires trust. And so for me, it's about building trust with the travel trade, to let them know, to assure them that all of our energy, all of our focus is on the customer experience.
And talking about that customer experience, you have very, very tech aware. Obviously, we talked about sort of this being a very kind of social first kind of proposition. Tell me a little bit about how you've woven technology into that experience.
Well, I think technology is important, but it also has to be very usable. So, you go with the staples of the internet, you go with the staples of the QR codes, you do kind of all of those pieces, but I think for us, the key piece is having people to support the technology. So, as guests are maybe trying to use certain facilities or use certain experiences, I still have people who answer the phones. I still have people who are present. I still have a butler team that's ready for you. So I think what's been critical for us is it's okay to have the staples of technology and keep it, simple and clean, for example, in our guest rooms, but at the same time, I want to have the staff that's accessible to you to support you and assist you. We all know when we use things for the first time, there might be an acclimation period. And so I want to have those resources there to support you.
And a huge theme, obviously, here at ATM, a huge challenge for the world as well is sustainability. Tell me a little bit about sort of how you've adopted that sort of that really, really critical kind of issue that we're all facing.
No, absolutely. I'll highlight some of the key things. As an ocean theme resort, one, we have a great responsibility, and Atlantis has always recognized that. And a couple of years ago, we launched actually the Atlantis Atlas project. And what's quite special is that it's focused on social responsibility and sustainability and how we can better serve the community in the world. And so some of the things that we have done is we've actually created our own water bottling plant in the resort. And the premise upon that was, with that, we've been able to eliminate over 2.7 million single-use plastic bottles in the course of 1 year. We're currently putting dispensers throughout the resort for our guests to use, and we're going to be providing them as part of their welcome gift, actually their own Atlantis containers to then fill and utilize. And so it's little things like that that I think are quite important. We've been reducing our carbon footprint by installing solar panels. So I've actually taken these long roof areas that I have along the water park, and I've filled them with solar panels. And so obviously with that, we've been able to lower our carbon footprint, we've been able to lower the wattage and the power that we've been able to draw, and so then that's been quite special. And then also, I'll summarize kind of some of our marine and mammal life. I have 65,000 marine mammals. 90% of them are actually native to the Gulf region. And so we've been doing a couple of things. One is that in our ecosystem, right, our aquariums and our tanks, we actually have baby sharks, baby rays, we have baby fish that we actually raise from the natural ecosystem of what we create. We've been actually working with the United Arab Emirates and Dubai on releases. So I actually do shark releases back into the Gulf. I do ray releases into the Gulf. So as we're creating, we're actually giving back to the world, and I think that that's quite important for us. And then with some of our attractions and experiences, we've been actually raising funds from that and donating that to research. And so we've been actually conducting a series of research internationally with certified institutions to ensure that we're supporting different types of ecosystems, particularly as it pertains to the marine and mammals that we feature at our resort. So we're continuing to drive, continuing to deliver, and I think that that's something that's super important for us in our support of sustainability around the world.
And of course, that sustainability relates to people too. You mentioned service being an absolutely key kind of pillar, I suppose, in a sense, to Atlantis. How are you really ensuring that consistent, coherent approach to the guest experience from your human capital?
I think one is training, and we have a really intense learning and development team. We actually have a learning center and a facility where we teach people how to cook. We teach people how to engage with our customers. We go through an intensive training program before we even put our colleagues on the floor, and we're very selective. And I'll give you an example for Atlantis the Royal, for our new resort. I had over 130,000 applicants worldwide that globally wanted to be a part of this product in this project. And in the end, we only selected 2,000 colleagues. So if you think of that, for us, we want to have the right level of diversity. And I have colleagues today from over 100 countries that speak over 50 different languages. So for us, we want to be able to appeal to a broad base of visitors that come to the resort, and we want to ensure that we can communicate and convey and interact. And so for us, it's about development and growing our team. I'm quite proud of our 6,000 colleagues. I'm quite proud of the fact that I think over the last 2 years, I've promoted over 1,000 of them. So they've started at maybe at a lower tier position, and then we continue to grow them within the company and within the organization. And to me, that's super important, because then they understand the DNA of Atlantis. They understand our brand standards. They understand what we represent, and they understand our culture.
So last thing, Tim. To the viewers, to the readers of Breaking Travel News, what's your message to them?
My message to them is the one thing that you can be assured of, particularly as it pertains to Atlantis, is that we're always evolving. we're always changing, that our customers will always come back to the resort and see something new and experience something new. That as it pertains to our new resort, Atlantis the Royal, that you can be assured that that you and your clients are going to get the best service, the best attention, and really the level of detail that they would be looking for out of an ultra luxury resort. And that as we continue to grow, as we continue to evolve, continue to engage with our resorts, and we're thankful, we're appreciative of the travel trade, we're thankful and appreciative of their contributions, and certainly for us, I think it's quite well known as a standalone resort. I'm not a brand. I don't have all these other powers that are around us. We stand alone really against the world in so many ways. And so in that regard, help to support us as this standalone single entity that's trying to carve out its own place and space in the world.
Well, I think the world's looking at you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.